I Love New York is the season finale for I Love LA. And and I'm going to say I was very scared for this finale. This was either going to save the series or it was essentially just going to confirm my suspicions that the show was a bit of a failure. And although I definitely feel like in the beginning it's a little rough, I think it does ultimately pull it together near the end. This definitely does feel like sets up stuff for the future season that I am interested in, and I'm glad it does commit to certain plot points that I was curious if there was gonna be like a single episode they were going to do and then just back to status quo. But I'm glad that they are doing changes to the series, and it's not just gonna be stagnant. Although stuff that I feel like does not work for this episode is it does kind of take home what really does not work for the show is that there are way too many characters. Like, not way too many, just Alani just it feels like they have an idea there, but they don't know how to execute it. And there's hints to what they might want to do in a future season, but for now, she's just another friend. She doesn't we don't get much insight into what she does, what kind of what she wants compared to like Charlie and Tallulah, like even Dylan, we see the struggles they have in their kind of friendships, relationships, their jobs, insecurities. We never get that really with Alani. We get some, as I said, we're getting some hints here, but not really enough for me to say she's really working in this season. And and uh, and for the most part, this series I think is a good 7. It's a decent season 1. Has some issues I think need to be ironed out in next season, but ultimately there's promise here. Stuff done with most likely with Charlie I think is really good, and was stuff that did have me coming back. Tulu can be a little annoying sometimes for the series, but I think there was enough here, particularly with Odessa Asion's performance, that did ultimately make me like the character. And I am glad that we are finally making Maya suffer the consequences of her actions. Her constant just toxic behavior towards Dylan, not really caring about him, almost making him lose his job at one point. And I'm glad that she's going to start the next season essentially with nothing. She has no job. She doesn't really have any connections. She doesn't have a boyfriend anymore. And I think this is what this character needs. She needs this character who needs to change, I think, desperately, desperately. We cannot stay the same. And ultimately, this season of this show is not gonna be for everyone. Everyone. If you're really not into influencers and this kind of comedy like Valley Girl stuff, you will have the trouble finding the footing for the series. And honestly, I would say it's worth sticking out with it though. I think this series that ultimately does stick the landing eventually. There's some annoying stuff you gotta go through, but I'd say it works out in the end. Definitely would say watch it. Definitely say watch the full series, and I would say I'm excited for the next season.